Taylor Basic Tees here, and today I'm going to tell you about my industrial cover stitch machine. I've had it for about 20 years and I bought it in Dallas, Texas. Let's take a look. This is my industrial cover stitch machine. The brand name is Saruba. I believe that's the correct pronunciation. And it is built to have 5 spools of thread, but I only use 3. I asked them what I needed when they set it up for me, and they set it up with 3. I am not a sewing machine person. I just know how to use it. So you thread it all the way up here at the top. It loops in, and then it comes down, and it goes through the bar right here, and you thread them there. And the first 2 to your left, they go in these holes and down through these 2 pressure bars, and then they go all the way over, and then they go up again right here in those holes. My sewing machine's dusty. And then they go all the way down, and then there's another 2 there, and then you put it behind this bar right here, and then you put it behind these little spring things, if you can see that. And then down below there's another 2 holes right here that those thread through, and then it threads through the needle and then goes back. And like I've said before, I always put a napkin underneath my pressure foot because industrial sewing machines tend to leak oil. And I just want to show you, they all have these little flippy things where they flip over. There used to be a hinge right here, but it's broke, so now I just lift it off and move it. This is how you would get back underneath. And it's got 2 compartments. It has this one right here. Let me change hands. You can pull this down and look inside there. Dirty, dirty. And then you can flip this one out and open it up right here. Dirty, dirty. I'm going to hit this with a can of air and I'll be right back. So the far right thread goes up to the top and loops through this hole right here, and then it comes down through the bar, and then it comes down again. Right here there's 3 holes, and it comes all the way down to this one down here, and then it loops over here by this little pressure thing, the tension thing, sorry. And these knobs, you can make them tighter or looser. All of them, they're all designed to put tension on your thread. This one, I found it peculiar, but they do actually make it to where you do this one totally loose. So there's no tension on this at all. So the thread goes around through the tension, and then it goes through this little notch right here, goes through this notch right here and underneath, and this little lever right here, you can push on it and it pops open. And you can also take this and move it open, and then the thread goes through there, through the little tension rod, and it goes through these little holes down below. And the holes that are down below, you want to make sure it goes through correctly, because sometimes it goes over these bars here and it doesn't sew correctly. So there's another little place to thread right here underneath. After you get it through those 2 loopholes over here, 2 loopholes, thread it right here, and then there's this little hook right here. So I've got my tweezers, and you're just going to put the thread, there's a hole right there on the side. You put it through that hole, bring it all the way through. And then there's also a hole right here that it needs to go through. I am not ambidextrous, so I'm having a hard time doing both of these at the same time. Holding the camera and holding the thread, but I got it. Let it hang loose, because the needle threads are going to pick that up when you start sewing. So those needle threads are just right back down below there. So this machine is like any other industrial sewing machine. It's going to have an on-off switch When you hit the on switch, it's like a car engine, so it's gonna rev up, and you gotta wait till it's revved up all the way before you start using it. If you look down below here, this one is gonna lift up my pressure foot. So if I push on this, it lifts up the foot. And then this one is the one that's gonna give it power. So you just oh so slightly press on that to give it power. So when you have it all threaded, when the thread's through there, the threads are up top, you got to make sure you close everything. Make sure you push this little gauge back in. This is the lever that let it go. You got to push it back in. Otherwise it won't sew properly. And then just shut it and then put the cover on and you're ready to go. I also want to point out that this little gauge right down here, it has the 2 red lines. Your oil, there's an oil gauge in there. I don't know if you can see it if I back up. There's an oil gauge right there. You want to make sure it's in between those 2 lines. Another thing is, since they always do leak oil, this is like kind of an escape thing where oil goes in and drains. This is where you add the oil and make sure that there's oil running through it as the machine sews. I hope you found this video educational.